It's the Monday Night Results Show. Just the results, and nothing but the results. From this past weekend's race at your favorite racetracks, if you're looking for a lot of happy talk and fluff, tune into the Disney Channel. And now, the man with a mind for statistics. Unfortunately, those statistics are usually odds on the ponies in Vegas. Mitch, the Dr. Walker.
All right, welcome to the Monday Night Results Show. We have got a revved up show. We are ready to go tonight, but let's kick it off like we always do with our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, it is with extremely heavy heart that I have to bring you the news that we bring you tonight. Yesterday morning, a local racing legend, a man who has influenced more race car drivers with his skill, his efforts, and his passion, Snooks D4 passed away at the age of 75. He was rushed to Erlanger yesterday morning. They were not equipped to deal with his condition. He was air flighted to Nashville, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. Snooks has been a legend in this sport for a very long time, and he will be greatly missed, and we will be getting into a tribute for him in just a little bit. Also joining us on the show will be Mr. Bob Henry, the gas man of Henry Exhaust Systems. And right before we get to him, young man who has been on a roll himself, Mr. Jesse Schlotfeldt. He is going to be coming in, 12-year-old who just won 3 out of 4 races this weekend up there in the Northwest United States, up there in Washington State. So we are revved up, and we're looking forward to having them on the show. And we're going to kick it all off. So don't go nowhere. Everyone sit tight. And we will be right back here in just a few minutes. It's the Monday Night Results Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the Doctor, exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Getting your child home safely.
Tap your heels together 3 times.
Is just a click away.
There's no place like home.
But making sure your child is in the right seat is just one of the steps down the road to safer travels.
I don't know how it works.
Find the right seat for your little one's age and size. There's no better way to get home safely. Know for sure that your child is in the right seat.
How can I ever thank you enough?
Get all the facts at safercar.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Performance Motorsports Network, your authority on motorsports of all types. Be listening for the most accurate and up-to-the-minute coverage of every motorsports activity that you enjoy on a daily basis. Be it NASCAR, be it IRL, be it Formula One, be it drag racing, be it dirt track, off-road, props, hulls, whatever. We are your source for motorsport. Performance Motorsports Network.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzzed driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You could kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speed, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
They say numbers don't lie, but we found that with a little tequila and some weed, the timing and scoring people will. Wading through the fog, it's the doctor.
All right, welcome back. As we told you earlier, one of the things that we do, we hate worse than anything to announce passing of race car drivers. And yesterday morning, I got up to the sound and the words that I didn't want to hear. Snooks D4, age 75, was rushed to the hospital in Erlanger yesterday morning. Erlanger was not equipped to deal with his situation. He was air flighted to Nashville and to St. Thomas West, where he was pronounced dead. Apparently he passed in flight. Snooks D4, long known for the bright yellow number 29 Mustang, running the clay ovals around the Southeast, Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia. Always a great guy, willing to do what he could to help anybody. Notorious for running high, wide, and handsome right up next to the wall. And if you never got to see him run at Rome, you just don't know what you were missing. I had the pleasure of talking with Snooks a couple of years ago at a racers revival that we had at Agape Baptist Church. Snooks walked in and he sat down, and I knew who he was. I'd met him before, and I really wanted to do an article for Dirt Life Illustrated on Snooks D4. So I went and sat down and talked to him and asked him if he would be willing to sit down and do an interview with me and let me write an article about him. He kind of looked at me and he laughed and he said, "Why would anybody want to read that?" And I said, "Well, man, I don't know if you know it or not, but there's a lot of race car drivers out here that think you hung the moon in the sky." And he laughed. He says, I'm just no country boy. Had a little bit of good luck every now and then. Well, you know, driver after driver after driver I talked to yesterday and today had nothing but good words to say about Snook. His skills and his talents behind the wheel of a race car were hard to match. And his personality away from the racetrack was even more hard to match. I heard a story yesterday that I want to share with you. I don't know if she may get mad at me for telling this, but yesterday I was talking with Faye Brindle and Leon Brindle and Annie Brindle. And Faye said that Snooks used to come over to their house and said one day Chip had been giving Annie a hard time and they were just little. And Snooks always picked on Annie and always thought the world of her. And he reached down and he picked Annie up. She was just a baby. He picked her up and he reached over there and he grabbed a couple of diapers and stuck them under his arm. He said, "Come on, I'm taking you home with me." And Chip threw a fit. "Don't take my sister. Don't take my sister." Snooks said, "No, you was mean to her. I'm taking her." That's the kind of guy he was. When I talked to Snooks and finally talked him into sitting down and doing an interview, he said, "I don't know why anybody'd want to read it." He said, "But if you want to waste the time to write it, I'll go ahead and talk to you." And I sat down and talked with him for a long time. And that article written for 2 years. I never did publish it. And I was looking for it earlier today. I was going to read it on the air, and I couldn't find it. I'll dig it up. But when you have a driver who reaches out and without even knowing it, touches so many other drivers. There's a lot of drivers out there that run a number 29, just like they run the number 41. 41 was Buck Simmons' number. A lot of people run it because Buck Simmons did. A lot of people run 29 because Snooks D4 did. Gary McPherson is one of them. 19-time track champion at North Georgia Speedway. And he tells us, he said, the very reason I run 29 is because Snooks did. Snooks was a great man who done a lot of things for a lot of people and didn't want the credit for it. There was a lot of people that made it to the racetracks on Saturday night because Snooks D4 paid for their parts and didn't want nobody to know it. I talked to a few drivers today who told me stories, and they said, I promised them I'd never tell. So please don't use my name. But these three drivers said that Snooks was like a daddy to them. And that there was a lot of times that if they hadn't had Snooks D4 in their corner, they wouldn't have gotten to where they were in racing today because of him. I'm going to take and read you his obituary as it's written on Sean Chapman Funeral Home's website. Mr. Albert Snooks D4, age 75, of Chatsworth, passed away Sunday, May the 8th, 2016, at the St. Thomas West Hospital in Nashville, Tennessee. He was preceded in death by his parents, Thomas Sidney and Beatrice DeFore, his brother Thomas DeFore, sisters Virginia Smith, Macy Stansel, Madge Fleming, nephew James Fleming, stepbrother John Chapman, Arthur Chapman, Horace Chapman, Ernest Chapman, and stepsister Gladys Mashburn. He is survived by his wife of 25 years, Rita D4. Children, Kent, Kevin, and Debbie D4. Angela and Mark Buckner, Teresa and Jackie Gallman, and Tracy Bowers, all of Chatsworth. Grandchildren, Jeremy D4, Bailey and Jackie Abernathy, Justin D4, Branson D4, Jason Buckner, Ansley Buckner, Lindsay and Jake Middleton. Great-grandchildren, Katie Bowers, Thaddeus Bowers, Emily Middleton, Brayley Middleton. Brothers and sisters-in-law, Kent, Bo, and Joe D4 of Ottawa. Sister Eleanor Pretty Silvers of Calhoun. Sister-in-law Jane Timms of Dalton. Stepbrother Walter Chapman Jr. of Chatsworth. Stepsister Polly Bond of Dalton. Numerous nieces, nephews, and cousins. Funeral services for Mr. D4 will be held Wednesday, May the 11th, 2016 at 4 p.m. in the chapel of Sean Chapman Funeral Home with Sam Smith, Byron D4, and Ken D4 officiating. The family will see friends from 3 until 9 on Tuesday. Interment will be at Ferry Valley Cemetery. Arrangements by Sean Chapman Funeral Home. Snook, wheelman, there was no better. Friend, none better. You were a stand-up man in a stand-up world. We're going to miss you, just like we missed you when you stepped out of a race car. Race with the angels, buddy. So long, Snooks D4. All right. There's lots of racers out there each and every day who get in, strap up, and get ready to go. And they do it because they had inspiration. They had desire. They had drive behind them. These guys look up to guys like Snooks D4. Snooks raced in a time where parts didn't come from a parts house or a catalog or a website. They came from a junkyard, or they were made in the shop. Old school racing. Last year in September, Snooks was admitted into the Smoky Mountain Speedway Hall of Fame. And, you know, when you look back, some of the people that went in with the 2015 class, Lamar Winkle, Marion Timpton, Snooks D4, Randy Bethea, Connie Boring, and Larry Jones. They were all inducted into the Hall of Fame up there at Smoky Mountain in Maryville, Tennessee. And, you know, it's things like that that give the recognition to these guys who never wanted recognition. They never wanted the fame and the glory. They just wanted to go racing. And racing they did. I know that someday when we get to heaven and they swing open the pearly gates, I'm going to look up through there. We're going to see our friends come running down through there. Like me and Delbert Haynes said here a while back, I can see it now. Snook standing up there with his arms crossed. And Craig Reese come running down through there, hitching his britches up, going, "Hey, Doc, where you been, buddy? Glad you made it." They're gone for now, but we will see them again soon. So long, Snooks. Snooks D4, 75, passed away yesterday. All right, I'm excited about some of the show that we've got coming up tonight. I know we've got Bob Henry coming up here in just a little bit. But next up, we got a young man who just, he has been just on a tear. And we're going to be talking to him and finding out what got that tear started and how he got into it. So don't go nowhere. We're going to step out and take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we'll have a young man on the show with us. And I think you're going to like him. So sit tight. Don't go nowhere. It's the Monday Night Results Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the Doctor, exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What?
No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm gonna do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up.
See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time. What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
If you're a gearhead and you just can't get enough of your favorite motorsports on that channel on the cable, or you look at that Guy network and you just go, what does that have to do with me? We have the answer. Performance Motorsports Network. Right here on the internet. The best cruise and tunes, the best in motorsports programming, and the best shows. We have opinionated hosts, and we like it that way. If you want to get involved, if you want to bench race, be listening for information coming up soon right here on this channel, the Performance Motorsports Network, your source for motorsports.
You're listening to the Monday Night Results Show on the Performance Motorsports Network, racing information at its best. And now back to the Doctor of Statistics.
All right, welcome back. Joining us right now on the show, young man out of the fine state of Washington. I'll get my tongue wrapped around my eye tooth and get it out here in a minute. Young man out of the fine state of Washington up there, Jesse Schlotfeldt. How you doing tonight, Jesse?
I'm doing great, you?
Man, I'm just tickled to death to be here and glad to have you on the show with us.
Thank you.
Wait, now, let me ask you, how did you get started in racing?
Well, I got started in racing about ever since I was born. My dad brought me up to Skagit Speedway, and I started watching when I was 5. We bought me my first quarter midget, and I raced that for 1.5 years, and then I went up to a junior sprint, raced that for 2 years. My second year, I won 17 out of 20 races. I was on the podium every race, and then after that, we decided it was time to move up to a bigger class, and we went up to the 600 restricted.
Now, when a lot of people don't get this, but let me back you up just a second. 2012, 8 years old, your second year in junior sprints, every finish out of 20 was a podium, and 17 of them was wins. Now, Jesse, did you get tired of winning that year?
I don't know.
Winning's a lot of fun. It takes a long time to get tired of that, don't it?
Yeah, it sure does.
Now, I know that you have, I have watched some of your video, and you flat get up on the wheel. What was the biggest adjustment you made from sitting and watching them to once you got in them? Did you have a learning curve there? I mean, was it tough for you to grasp a hold of what it was taking to drive a race car?
Well, I've been around race cars my whole life, and it's just something that I grew up with. And so getting in one, I was very excited the first time I ever got one. Going 25 miles around the track, felt like I was going 100, and it was amazing. And yeah, I had a learning curve. I did, but and I still have a learning curve because you can never stop learning.
That's the best way to be, man. I'm telling you, there's always something to learn, and when you think you've learned it all, Then you just turn the page and you start all over again. Now I know that you've had a pretty good year this year, hadn't you?
Yeah, this year we've had a pretty good start to it. I have 4 wins. I have a top 5. I have a couple top 5s, and it was and I got 2 clean sweeps this weekend. I won 3 out of 4 races, and it got off to a rough start, but we're picking up the pace now.
Well, the thing I really wanted to get you on was, this weekend you went and entered 4 races. You won 3 of them, and it wasn't no big deal. When you went out there, I mean, every race car driver gets on the racetrack. You think you're going to win when they drop that green flag. I don't care if you start dead last, but everyone thinks they're going to win. But did you really believe you were going to sweep 3 out of 4 this weekend?
I had absolutely no idea. I couldn't have guessed it at all. I mean, I was ecstatic when I won 1 of them, and winning 3 just got me overwhelmed, and it was just mind-blowing.
Well, now, there was a little story that your dad told me about the Clay Cup, and when you started 18th and you won it, but on night 3, they said you spun out on lap 27. You had led 27 laps of it, and you rolled it into the pits, and everybody's mad, and everybody's all tore up, and you pulled off your helmet, and somebody standing next to you asked if you was okay, and you said, "Yeah, I'm just glad I got to race."
Yeah, that was a very memorable night. I mean, I don't care about winning or losing. I just like to run in my car and just run laps. That's all I really care about. It's just what I love to do.
Do you name your cars?
Yes.
What's your favorite right now?
Well, a long time ago, we named my first car Miss Priss. Skip gave it that name. He gave it was our restricted, but now it's our open. And then we named the other one, and I don't know, but I let one of the younger kids name it. His name's Drake, and named it Mr. Tickles. So that's now all of our race cars' names.
Do you, when you go to school, does everybody kind of pat you on the back and say, "Hey, you drive a race car"? Is that kind of fun, getting the recognition at school?
Yeah, I have quite a bit of friends that I've taken them up to Deming, and now they think it's awesome. So yeah, every time I go to school, they always ask me how I do and just how the night went. It makes me feel good.
Now, I'm sure your parents are real tough on you about keeping your grades up, aren't they?
Yeah, my mom's on my butt about that.
Does she now? So you got to keep them grades up to go racing, huh?
Uh-huh.
Well,
bad grades, no
hey,
racing.
Let me tell you a little secret. Now, I know you may not have gotten into it yet, but you know that stuff they try to teach you in school that called algebra?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me tell you a little secret. I'm 50-something years old, and I'm still waiting for the day when I use algebra during the day. I haven't used it yet, but you need to study hard on it.
Yeah.
What do you like most about racing? I mean, I know that getting out there and getting in the competition and getting in the heat of the battle, I know that's a lot of fun, but what do you really like about it? I mean, what is it that just drives you to go racing?
I love the speed. I like the community that I race in. I mean, everything. Ever since I hopped in my first race car, I knew I'd be hooked on it for life. I just love racing. I love the sound. I love everything about racing. Nothing can ever draw me away from it.
Well, I think that one of the things, and I'm going to ask you a question I've never asked a guest as young as you, but I want to ask you this, and I want you to think about it. Do you feel that your racing has made the relationship between you and your parents, and especially you and your dad, stronger?
I feel whenever we go to the racetrack, there is a bonding experience between my family and I. I do feel that because it's something that my whole family loves. I mean, my mom can get a little nervous every time I get out on the track, and my dad loves to watch me race. And I think whenever we're at the racetrack, we just really, it brings out a new part of us that we don't experience at home.
And that's something special that a lot of kids don't have. You know, I mean, I know that I've watched kids grow up around me at the racetrack, and I see, you know, a lot of different things. But I noticed that when kids race together, and parents and sons, and you know, we've had some older guys on here. I had Jimmy Oskey, who's a sprint car legend in Southern California out there, 5-time CRA champion. He one of the things that he said was that was one of the things that he valued most about his racing career was the special time at the track that he got to spend with his dad and with his family. He said because it's something that you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah, I feel when I get to the racetrack, all the weight is lifted from my shoulders, and I just get to do what I love to do.
You get to go out there and be Jesse, huh?
Yeah, that's where it's the time when I get to shine.
Now, I know I hear you got an interesting next door neighbor.
Yeah, Eric, he races sprint boats.
Have you ever thought about, you know, pushing him out of his seat and getting in his boat?
No, I've seen his boat though, and I've heard it run.
Well, I tell you what, man, I've watched those boats run, and they are bad fast. And you ought to hustle him one day. Tell him, you know, hey, you could do double duty one weekend while he's out flying an airplane. You could load up his boat and go run his boat, and then run your mini sprint that night.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that would be bad fast though.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of speed in one night.
Yeah, I believe it would be. But, you know, we've been trying to get Eric on the show for a while, and he called me yesterday, and he said, man, I got this kid next door to me that you need to get on your show. And I said, oh, yeah, tell me about him. He said, I'm not going to tell you. I'm just going to show you. And he sent me a video. And you had started like deep in the field, 17th or 18th, somewhere in there. And you worked your way all the way to the front, just taking them one at a time, catching them wherever you could catch them and blowing by them and just keep on going. Are you driven? I mean, is there I got to get to the front mentality when you get out there racing like that and you start deep in the field?
Well, yeah, I mean, I do. When I get on the track, I'm very competitive, and I always have my mindset on going as far forward as I can get. I mean, my dad, because that night he wishes that I would have stopped for second because he didn't want me to ruin the car, but he knew that I wasn't going to.
Yeah, he's like, knew that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
Now, if you're not messing with a race car, what are you doing for fun?
I don't know. I love to play with some RC cars. I mean, I like to play some like Xbox with my friends. I work on the cars. I run around outside. I'm usually a very active kid.
Well, now I know, Jesse, you can't do this. You know, no one person can field a race car and get out there. It takes a lot of help. It takes a lot of sponsors. It takes a lot of crew members. Who have you got helping you on your car as far as sponsors go?
Well, my pit crew, Scout, he does a tremendous amount of work. Like, it's outrageous at how much work he does on those cars. He's the one that always tunes the cars and does all the maintenance and sets up the cars. I mean, he gets a lot of help from Nick, and Skip is always shining and cleaning the cars. And my mom and dad are always supporting me. My dad sets up, he tunes the injection and stuff, and then I have extra help from Austin Mann and my Uncle Chad and Bruce. And my sponsors are Stickman designs, every little detail, Ridge Runner wings, Yoshimura and Factory King shocks, Service Pro, and Pacific Performance powder coating.
Now, you know, what's your mom's main job at the racetrack besides keeping you in line?
She sits up in the stands and she always cheers me on. She's the most amazing mom that I could ever have in the whole entire world.
Well, you know, that's pretty cool that you say that. I know my mom went and seen me race once, and it didn't end well. We'll just say it ended upside down, and when they were pulling me out of the car, I could hear her screaming. So I said, well, I don't believe Mom needs to come back to the races no more. So, but yeah, I think it's cool that your mom is there to support you and cheer you on, and you have your family and your uncles and everybody come out there and help you out. It really makes a team effort when everybody gets along good, don't it?
Oh, yeah. I remember my first time that I ever flipped. My mom was panicking. She was screaming. She was saying, that's my son out there, and she wanted out on the track to make sure I was okay. She's a very caring mom, and I couldn't wish for anyone else to be my mom.
Well, now, the first time you flipped and you seen that sky ground, what did you think? Did you think, uh-oh, this ain't going to be pretty?
Well, I was young at the time. I was 9. I thought I died for a second, but then I remember hearing the voices of all the people surrounding me, making sure I was okay, and it felt nice that, I was crying, but at the end of it, I waved to the crowd and walked off the track.
Well, you know, to get everybody out there and let them know that you're okay, that's a good thing, you know, because a lot of the fans sit in the stands, they worry about you guys, and they hope that you know, when you do flip or get upside down or whatever, they hope everybody's okay. So you coming out and letting everybody know that you're okay is a good thing. You know, it's kind of like waving it off, like, hey, I'm tough, I'm still here.
Yeah, every time I wreck, I always like to wave or do something to show the crowd, hey, I'm okay, and I'll be able to get out there next week and go racing.
Well, now, where do you plan to go from here? I mean, are you gonna run the junior sprints some more, or are you gonna start stepping up?
We wanna what we want to do is, right now I'm in the 600 Open. We eventually want to get me to a 360 next year, and so we want to kind of play around with that and see how I do with that, and eventually we just want to see how far we can go with this.
Now, in 10 years, where do you see Jesse racing at?
I expect me to be happy, and I want me to be doing what I want to be doing.
You gonna get up there and rub elbows with Casey Kane?
Huh?
I said, you gonna get up there and rub elbows with Casey Kane in a sprint car?
That would be pretty cool. That would be very amazing. That would be a breathtaking moment.
I think that you know, a lot of young guys get out there and they have that ambition of racing somebody famous, and then when they get to that somebody famous, it's like, you know, this is pretty cool. I just beat him.
Yeah, I've never really beat anyone famous, and I race local guys, and whoever I race, I still have fun no matter where I am.
Well, I tell you what, Jesse, we're up against the commercial break. I'm gonna have to let you go, but man, I tell you what, you do another sweep like you done this past weekend. You call me and we'll get you back on here and we'll talk about winning some more. How about that?
All right, that sounds good.
Man, I appreciate it, Jesse. Good luck to you in the coming season, and keep all four wheels on the ground because it's a whole lot faster that way.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
All right, young man. You take care and tell your dad I said thanks. Jesse Stockton, he is rocking and rolling. He's got it going on his way. All right, we're going to get ready to jump up here and step out and take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking with the man named Mr. Bob Henry. So everyone, sit tight. Don't go nowhere. It's the Monday Night Results Show with your host, me. They call me the doctor, exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Motorsports sales professionals. Performance Motorsports is looking to build a team of experienced media sales professionals to represent our programming to the industry's top companies, magazines, and racing series. If you have motorsports sales or marketing experience, know how to work with agencies, understand social media, and are incredibly creative when it comes to working with clients and promotions, then we want to hear from you. Top performers are richly rewarded. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444, or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Every 30 minutes, another innocent person is killed due to a drunk driver.
My best friend. My brother. My poor grandchild.
My sister.
My father.
My husband.
My mom. My mommy.
Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you.
Stop these tragedies before they happen. Don't drink and drive.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
It's the Monday Night Results Show, the internet radio show that gives you the results from your favorite racetracks. And that's it! If you're looking for a lot of happy talk and fluff, go watch NASCAR coverage on ESPN. Now, here's the doctor.
All right, welcome back. And I tell you what, we have got a guest that's coming on here in just a second, Mr. Bob Henry. Bob has been working diligently, kind of a little guy who has started out and started making things happen for himself and starting to get some recognition. And one of the things that I have always said here on the Monday Night Show is we like to acknowledge the little guy, the guy that don't get all the big press and don't have all the fancy articles and all that. We work real hard trying to get him, the little guy, the press and the recognition that he deserves. And that's what we do. And so joining us right now from Henry Exhaust Systems, Mr. Bob Henry Jr. Bob, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Good, Mitch. How are you?
Oh, man, I'm just tickled to death to be here. Revved up, I'm all ready to go. Did you have a good weekend of racing?
Yeah, it was pretty good. A lot of tracks up here got rained out on Saturday night, but the tracks that did run, our customers had a very successful weekend, and it's happy to check the results and see your customers winning, you know.
Well, now, you know, talking about seeing your customers winning, you know, I know that it's when you get guys that come to you to do their exhaust systems, And, you tell them, say, hey, give me a shot. Let me give you a try. They go out, they take your product, they go out and they bolt it on their car. They go out and they go fast. That kind of has to make you feel good, don't it?
Oh, it feels real good. It feels real good. Being a racer myself, with this exhaust business, I don't get to race as much as I used to, so I'm almost kind of racing through my customers. And actually, Tyler Dipple was the youngest winner at Lebanon Valley Speedway in a big block modified this weekend, 16 years old. He also runs the K&N Pro Series. And we've been with him since I started, and basically he started with Crate Sportsman. And seeing him grow and be a part of some history this weekend was pretty special, too.
And I mean, when you got when he's running your stuff, that's got to be special.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I know you guys are down in the south, but up here, at Lebanon Valley, we're in northern New York, Brett Hearn and those guys run their weekly, and that's a tough crowd, and that's a pretty good deal. And we got guys that, your every Saturday night guy doing, Crate Sportsman to Spec Head 358, Open 358 and big blocks, and now we've been even starting to get into some late model stuff as we've spoke before, and we're growing every day, and it's just great.
Now, tell us a little bit about how you got started doing this, Bob.
Well, kind of goes like this. Being a racer myself, my father has a machine shop, and he used to be a factory drag racer for Chrysler. And he's a smart man, and he was a drag racer, and I, for some reason, like to go around in circles. So, being a welder and fabricator by trade, and having our own dynamometer and full machine shop at our disposal, I said to my dad, why don't I just start building my own stuff? Because, everybody always works around the headers, okay, which are very important. We're going to get into that. We just put up an addition. But as of right now, we just do collectors and exhaust systems. And, I said, Dad, how come everybody just basically bolts a muffler on their car and they're just hoping not to lose power? They only have it on there because the rule says. Why don't we, try to build something for ourselves that's a little better and see if we can get an edge? And, put our heads down, we built something, went out without even dynoing it, went out and raced it, and I said, geez, that seemed pretty good. And, started playing with it some more in the dyno, changing this, changing that. And, a friend happened to walk through the garage one day and said, hey, where'd you get that? I said, oh, I built it. Well, can you build me one? And it's just kind of how it started. And we had Len Sammons, which owns the Area Auto Racing News, and he has a motorsports trade show in Philadelphia every year, and actually the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center. It's actually in Oaks, PA, Pennsylvania. And we had an idea, so we sold a couple of our buddies. We got a card table, went and got some business cards made, got a banner made. So let's go on the show, see if somebody's interested in buying these. And we sold a couple down in New Jersey, Pennsylvania way, and came up here and have some connections with the Gypsum Express Racing team. One of my good friends, his stepfather runs Gypsum Express Racing, and we brought them over there for their engine shop, and they dynoed some stuff, and we got on some top-notch cars, and just kind of snowballed from there. And that was 4 years ago, and here we are today with hundreds of customers and expanding our product line, always trying to get better and strive to have the best thing on the market. Just like you talk about the little guy, we're a one-man band, and my father, myself, and I have a kid that works with me, and just like my motto is, well, I got two mottos, really. One is we don't want to be the biggest, I just want to be the best. Because I'm not greedy. I don't want to, take a big chunk of the whole pie. I just want a little slice and not get too big for my britches and not be able to put out the quality piece. Because that's what happens to a lot of these companies. They get too big too fast, or they're trying to do too much, and their quality suffers. And that's just not how I am, and the pride I take into building this stuff. And so it's just kind of where it is. And, I'm pretty good friends with Matt Hearn from T.O. Pro Car, and he's got a lot of cars, and he actually runs Tyler Dipple's racing program. And, those guys running their stuff, and he wants to see their customers run good. And I have some engine builders that want to see their customers run good, and just kind of has where it's gone from there. I can't say there hasn't been any hurdles in the process. We've had some issues with either sanctioning bodies saying our stuff isn't legal, or certain tracks outlawed our stuff at one point, saying it was an unfair advantage for people that can't afford it. It's just, how it is, just the race and politics, but we just keep putting our best foot forward and putting your head down and always try to think of a better way to do it. So that's just what we do.
Well, now, you mentioned your crate Sportsman's up there. They run like a 604 Chevy motor?
602.
602s, okay. They're on the steelhead motors. Now, what kind of gains bolting your stuff on do these guys see on a 602?
Well, on a 602, on average, now these are averages, from 3,000 to 6,200, not peak, we usually pick up 12 to 15 to 17 foot-pounds of torque and 12 to 15, 18 horsepower. All engines are different. You can't give an exact number because you could have 10 crate motors, down all 10 of them, bolt the same stuff on there, and every one likes a little something a little different. It's just the way it is. But and the biggest thing it picks up is acceleration. Now, we have a Stuska engine dyno with a D-Pack software, and my father's had it since 1991, 1992. He's actually never got rid of, he has a hand brake where he feeds the water on the engine instead of doing it with all computer program. When he's had the opportunity, or, the guy who designed the dyno wanted him to change it, but he can actually feel the acceleration on there, and that's the biggest thing it picks up is acceleration. So, and it races better. Just like even these guys with these big blocks, we got a ton of horsepower. Why do we need more? We can't hook up what we got. But the biggest thing is where it's making the torque and the power on the big end, it makes it easier to drive. So, because basically you're taking the spikes off of it. So it's a smoother deal.
Smoothing it out and getting it down there where you can use it.
Absolutely. And anybody will tell you as a racer, you always want more motor, but you want smooth power where there's no spikes and peaks and valleys. And a lot of times, a lot of these combinations they have on there for headers make a bunch on the bottom, then take a dip, then come back up, and that's what breaks the tires loose. So that's where we're trying to, change some stuff around with the exhaust system and our collectors to get that, done. So.
Now, in your experience and your time of not just your customers, but people you've seen at the racetrack, what do you think is one of the biggest mistakes or misconceptions that people make about exhaust systems on a race car?
Well, they just think it's on there because you have to have it, or they look at it, don't understand how it works, or don't understand how much different can it really be. But there's a lot to it. It's an integral part of racing. It's just like, looking at all different shocks and saying all shocks are the same. Once they're not, they may look the same, but it's basically a piece of a puzzle that every piece you have to have in line to be successful. It's not gonna put side bite in your car. It's not gonna put forward drive in it, but it's just a piece of that puzzle to get you to where you want to be. And the common goal that anybody wants to race is they want to win, and that's just flat out. It's the end of the story right there, right?
That's right. Now, if say we had some of the guys down here in the Southeast that wanted to look into Henry exhaust systems, and they wanted to talk to you about, maybe stepping up their program and getting on board with some of the things that you've got going on, how would they go about doing that? Just give you a call and y'all talk about what they've got and what you can do?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually have sent some stuff out to the Midwest here, actually, in the last few weeks on some crate late models, and these guys are really liking it, and we've sold more than one out there, so everything's going good. You can search us, just Google Henry's Exhaust, our Facebook page, our Twitter account, all that comes up, and all the call information's on there. My personal cell phone is what you have here. That's public information too. The shop number is 315-699-4281, and the cell phone's 315-751-9493. You can call us day or night, Saturday, Sunday. The shop phone's forwarded to a landline or a cell phone also, so you can call us at any time, and there's a lot to be gained with this stuff. You know, if everybody's got the same thing, you always got the same result. You got to go step out and be a little different and give some different stuff a try, and you know, people that tend to do that or tend to be more successful. You know, the people that just walk around the pit, see what else everybody else has, and they think they got to have that, which is fine, and that's racing, but that means you're only going to be just as fast as them. You're not going to be faster. So.
Well, let me tell you a real quick little story about what happened to us a couple of years ago in a sportsman car at North Georgia. It's a late model style chassis. We were running a oh Lord, anyway, we were running a certain brand of headers. The name just escapes me right off the top of my head. Race Tech, and we were running a set of headers from them, Dynatech, and during the night's events, we got stuffed in the wall, and just the way the wheel folded under the car, it killed two header tubes. I mean, crushed them flat. So we were running for points. So we dug all week long, called the factory. They said it'll be next Monday before we can ship. And we said, we need it Saturday. And they couldn't get it to us. So we searched and we searched. We were at one point, we were like, we will take any kind of header. We don't care what it is. We just need to race Saturday night. Well, we finally found a header that had fit an old Masterbuilt car, and it went up over the frame rail, and we were able to make it work. The only problem was the way the header pointed, it pointed straight out the door. So I said, hey, no big deal. We put a megaphone on that thing, and we run it straight out the door, cut a hole in the door. It just so happened the hole where we run the header out came out right in the middle of the 0 in the 40 on the side of the car, which worked out kind of cool, you know. We put it on there. We go to the racetrack with it. You talk about sounding different, because it was on the right side. You run down the straightaways right up next to the wall, and that one exhaust hitting the wall, it was really loud. It was really weird sounding, and we won that night. So we rolled into victory lane. We get our picture took. We roll it up on the trailer, get it back to the shop, snatch that old raggedy header off, put the new one on Monday. We go back the following weekend. There was 5 cars had their header run out the door.
Of course.
I told Chris Zimmerman, I said, you know what we ought to do? We ought to go get us a big smokestack like a steamship and put it up right over the breather and run that next week and see how many people we can get put smokestacks on their car.
No doubt. You know, monkey see, monkey do.
Oh,
I just
yeah.
want to get back to my exhaust stuff I didn't mention. Everything is hand custom built. There is nothing bought for this. It's not like you're buying something and putting a tag on there. Just, you know, everything is handmade. Everything is custom. Everything is purge welded. I mean, it's really top notch, top quality stuff. And all our customers, I mean, that's the biggest thing is just looking at this stuff. I mean, it's, you know, we strive to be the Cadillac of this stuff. You know what I mean? So that's our goal. So.
I agree. Well, now all you guys get your pencil ready, because we're getting ready to come up on a break. I'm going to have to let Bob go. I'm going to give his number one more time. So you guys get your pencils ready. This is Henry's Exhaust Systems. Are you ready? I know you guys write it slow because none of you can read very fast. We all know this. Okay, Bob, go ahead. Give them your shop number one more time, and give it to them kind of slow because they don't write fast.
All right, it's 315-699-4281 is the shop number. And if you end up missing that, just look us up on the internet on Facebook. Our number's right on there, Henry's Exhaust Systems. You can message me. That goes right to my phone if you message me on Henry's Exhaust. And I'll typically always answer within minutes. You know how like nowadays your phone's glued to your hip. So I appreciate everything, Mitch. So,
man, most of the time I can't get mine down to my hip. It's always stuck to my ear. But, Bob, I want to thank you so much for coming on, and we're going to get you back on here a little bit later on in the season because we've got a couple of irons in the fire I want to talk about and get those sorted out. So you have a great weekend, a great week, and good luck on your racing this weekend, man.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it, guys.
Hey, not a problem. Bob Henry Jr. with Henry Exhaust Systems. Number is 315-699-4281. If you want to get your gases all pointed in the right direction, that's the man to call. Give him a call. He'll work with you. Custom stuff. None of his stuff is production. It is all custom-made stuff. So give him a try. I think you will be pleasantly surprised. And who knows, it may be the difference between second and first. And, you know, crate racing around here has been real tight here lately, so everybody needs the advantage that you can get. Get all you can. That's Henry's Exhaust Systems. Again, 315-699-4281. All right, we're up against a commercial. We're going to jump out of here. We got some results, so don't go nowhere. It's the Monday Night Results Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the doctor exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper cars, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Media sales professionals with agency experience. If you're frustrated with your current position, unrealistic quotas, and inept management, if you're a sales machine and you simply will not take no as an acceptable reply, if you're looking for a rapidly growing company with unlimited sales potential for commissions in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, if you're searching for a high-tech, forward-looking, laid-back, but extremely professional organization who appreciate your skills and dedication, we have your next opportunity. Scorpion Radio Group is building a sales team of self-starters who are motivated. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444 or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. That's 717-749-0444 and ask for Sue.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right, it's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
How to deal with someone who says that's so gay. Outsmart them.
This party is like so gay. Totally.
Excuse me, but did you ladies know the word gay used to mean happy or excited? Then it became a word used to describe gay people. Then somehow it came to mean dumb or stupid, which is how you just used it, which is not very nice.
Ew, that guy is on the football team and super smart, and he totally hates us now. Totally.
When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off. Learn more at thinkbeforeyouspeak.com.
You're listening to the Monday Night Results Show. Back-to-back results, and that's it. You want half-naked girls, singing, and sound effects? Go watch American Idol. Now, here's the doctor.
All right, welcome back. We got some results for you, but before we jump into the results, I have a little bit of news. Stacy Bowles out of Clinton, Tennessee, who has been racing around this area for years and years and years. He owns Advanced Transportation trucking company. He will be coming into the Capital Race Car fold here real soon. They're waiting on him to get his new cars. And Ray Cook is going to be doing some driving for him. He drove for him this past weekend. And looking for Ray Cook, the Tar Heel Tiger, to step into some of Casey Bowles' cars and do a little driving for Casey Bowles. So keep that in mind. It's going to be a serious combination anytime Ray Cook gets involved. We're working on getting Ray Cook on the show coming up real soon. So keep that in mind. All right. Woodhull Raceway, Woodhull, New York. We'll jump right into the great Northeast results. The Insinger Performance 370 Modifieds. It was 16 cars going 25 laps, and it was Corey Costa taking the win over Mike Bills. Billy Van Pelt was third. Dylan Groover was fourth. Russell Morrisman was fifth. Josh Nobrega was sixth. Kenny Peoples Jr. was seventh. Donnie Lawson was eighth. Boyd McTavish was ninth. Eric Fisher was 10th. 11th was Frank Dunning. Brady Fultz was 12th. 13th was Brian Doolittle. Art Goulier was 14th. Dave DuBois was 15th. Joe Diggum did not start. In the Napa Crate Sportsman Division that we were just talking about, 26 cars going 25 laps. It was Josh Kesey taking the win over Mike Jackson. Chris Daughtry got his motor claimed. There was some talk about this earlier, about the claiming rule up there at Woodhull, and I guess it sparked some controversy, but we'll see how that all shakes out. Fourth place was Brandon Butler. Al Costley was fifth. Tim Guild was sixth. Dayton Brewer was seventh. Colin Brown was eighth. Chris Fisher was ninth. Josh Sawyer was 10th. Zach Carey was 11th. Tracy Stanford was 12th. Tim Schramm was 13th. Garrett Rushlow was 14th. Steve Hartman III was 15th. Mark Benson was 16th. John Sequel was 17th. 18th was Scott Tubbs. Brandon Martin was 19th. Jerry Aldrich was 20th. David Mayo was 21st. Mike Williams was 22nd. Mickey Wilbur was 23rd. Jake Deegan was 24th. Stacy Jackson was 25th. And Bobby Peoples rounded out the 26-car field. In the Joe Wilcox Performance Automatic Street Stocks, 35 laps, 20 cars. It was Glenn Whitenor taking the win over Teddy Morseman. Tracy Dunn was third. Kurt Stebbins was fourth. Kane Stebbins was fifth. Brent Marlett was sixth. Willie Rice was seventh. Laverne Nickenbacher was eighth. Jared Dennis was ninth. Jason Gleason was 10th. Dan Gardner was 11th. 12th was Brandon Morseman. Enos Cummins was 13th. 14th was Trevor Tompkins. That was Dennis Cummings. I'm sorry. Dennis Cummings was 13th. Trevor Tompkins was 14th. Jared Hill was 15th. Jason Stewart was 16th. Dylan Cece was 17th. Jeremy Paratsgabo. Jeremy got DQ'd. Allison Pierce did not start, and Gary Archer did not start. Potrabowski. Man, that guy's got way too many letters in his name. In the Clash for Cash, 10 laps, it was Teddy Morseman taking the win over Dylan Cece. Dan Gardner was third. In the 360 late models, 8 cars, Kurt Sturban, first career 360 late model win over Steve LeBaron. Greg Whitenor was third. Rick Lukes was fourth. Carl Hughes was fifth. Jason McGregor was sixth. Bruce Miller was seventh. Mickey Seeley was eighth. In the mini stocks, 21 cars, 20 laps. Ron Daly Jr. takes the win over Jeffrey Daughtry. Chris Woodard's third. Rick Amadon was fourth. Carl Bourne was fifth. J.J. Kreidler was sixth. John Hand Jr. was seventh. David Wetham was eighth. Brian Grant Jr. was ninth. Corky Grant was 10th. Chip Ayers was 11th. Mike Stone was 12th. Chip Warner was 13th. Chris Hand was 14th. Dave Little was 15th. 16th was Dave Kenner. Derek Purrier was 17th. 18th was Rick Sharpstein. In the Woodhill front-wheel drive division, 17 cars, 20 laps. Jay McDonald takes the win. Sean Gleason was second. Joe Birdsall was third. Cody Baker was fourth. Matt Prescott was fifth. Wesley Hodeling was sixth. Dave Richmond was seventh. Carl LeBaron was eighth. Nate Freeland was ninth. Jordan Kiefer was 10th. Nick Brown was 11th. Jared Brown was 12th. Robert Haynes was 13th. Billy Groover was 14th. Adam DeLagrosso was 15th. Dylan Strade was 16th. And Eric Varnum rounded out the 17-car field. In the Warrior division, the Daughtry Auto Sales Warriors, 6 cars go 10 laps. Bradley Groover takes the win. Trevor Hamilton was second. A.J. Porterowski Jr. was third. Kaylee Porterbowski was fourth. Brody Amadon was fifth. Kale Yaus was sixth. Now, for those with the last name Potterboski, if someone would please tell me how to pronounce that, I'd be greatly appreciative. That's a whole lot of letters, and I get my tongue wrapped around my eye tooth. Outlaw Speedway up near Watkins Glen, man, new owners up there. They have had 3 races scheduled. They have had 3 rainouts in a row. Mother Nature needs a chill pill up there for those guys at Outlaw Speedway. Hopefully they can get everything all situated, but they said everything in Pennsylvania and New Jersey just about rained out. So hopefully they will get back on track and get everything out there and get them situated. And now let's roll back over here to some more results. Let me get back to where I was at. You know, the way these guys do, you know, this past weekend was Mother's Day. And there was a lot of racetracks that ran Mother's Day events. And Saturday night at North Georgia Speedway, we had some competition. We had a youngest mother, or the newest mother, the mother that traveled the longest distance, the oldest mother, and the mother with the most kids at the track. And we had 4 prizes. 2 of them got to wave the green flag on the race of their choice, and 2 of them got to go for a ride in Kevin Burke's new 2-seater Black Beauty. And the 2 that got to go for a ride said they were a little disappointed. They wanted him to turn the wick up on it, but he got them out there, paced the field, and got them some laps and got them to at least feel what it's like to ride in a race car around the racetrack. And the mothers, you know, we thank you for all that you do. Without mothers, we wouldn't be here. Now, let's see. 2nd annual Mother's Day celebration, Arizona Speedway, Santan Valley, Arizona. In the dwarf cars, it was Corey Brown taking the win over Levi Rudy. Brian Steer was second. A.J. Brew was third. Tony Martin was fourth. Rusty DeGroat was, whoa, wait a minute. That is all backwards. Somebody don't know their numbers very well, but let me straighten this out. I will do this again. Corey Brown takes the win. Levi Rude was second. Third was Brian Steer. Fourth was A.J. Brew. Fifth was Tony Martin. Sixth was Rusty Grote. Seventh was Kevin Davis. Eighth was Cale Rudy. Ninth was Steve Chapman. Eddie Schul was 10th. Chris Vernon was 11th. Charlie Icononi was 12th. 13th was Eric Muse. 15th was Brad Stormont. 16th was Chad Stewart. 17th was Frank Rhodes. Chris Tremino was 18th. 19th was Justin Fletcher. John Levitt was 20th. 21st was Sonny DeGroat. Jesse Kuntz was 22nd. 23rd was Greg Bowman. And Brian Hattlestead was the 23rd car. And that is how they ran the dwarf cars out there at Arizona Speedway. In the pure stocks, let's see if these are any better. And no, they're not. I'm going to have a talk with these guys out there at Arizona Speedway. Vince De Palma takes the win in the street stocks. Mark Madrid was second. Larry Brigner was third. Aaron Hittrick was fourth. Fifth was Austin Zeppelin. Eric Lloyd was sixth. Seventh was Darren Olney. Chuck Gronke was eighth. Bones Katana was ninth. Tyler Mackey was 10th. Brian Hattlestead was 11th. Derek Askren was 12th. 13th was Ty Wiedner. 14th was Perry Duval. 15th was Mark Farnes. 16th was Mike Mabbitt. Luke Askren Jr. was 15th. 16th was Mike Cruz. 17th was Rex Hasley. Robert Smeltzer was 18th. And Leroy Hoover rounded out the field. And, you know, they need to really get their numbers right. All right, in the USAC, cars out there. Nope, wrong ones. Okay, let's back up and try again. The Southern Crate Nationals, Why Not Motorsports Park. Man, they had a full field of cars. They raced around down there for a long time. But when it come down to it, in victory lane, it was the 40B of Kyle Bronson taking the win over Mark Whitener. Third was Scott Detweiler. Josh Adkins was fourth. Ashley Newman was fifth. Chase Washington was sixth. Evan Ellis was seventh. Randy Boyd was eighth. Daniel Brigman was ninth. Jamie Bolin was 10th. Monty Skinner was 11th. Hunter Lewis was 12th. Casey Haney was 13th. Johnny Stokes was 14th. Marcus Mingo was 15th. Nick Thrash was 16th. Michael Blount was 17th. Blake Spencer was 18th. Justin McRee was 19th. Tyler Burgess was 20th. Michael Santiago was 21st. Joey Hyatt was 22nd. Shep Lucas was 23rd. Doug Sankrin was 24th. Terry Mosley was 25th. Tim Dees was 26th. And Brandon Brozakowski, young man who has been on our show before out of Texas, he come home 27th. And that's how they ran them down there at Why Not Motorsports Park down there in Mississippi. One thing I want to remind everybody, if you would like your results on the show, it's real easy. Just send me an email. I will be happy to fix you up. You can send me a message on Facebook. You can send it to the Monday Night Results Show's Facebook page or my Facebook page, Mitch Walker. I'm the only one in Dalton, Georgia. Not hard to find. It is it's an honor to get to do these tracks each and every week, and we would love to have you as part of our regular rotation. We have a lot of racetracks from around the country that are on the list. Some of them are here local to me. Some of them are local up in the New England area. Some of them are local out west. We got a lot of guys in Arkansas that have been tuning in lately. We're going to be getting some of those tracks coming in the very near future and getting them on board. We had a couple of them send the results in this week, but they sent me the top 5. And everybody knows if you don't send me the full rundown, we don't do your results. And the little guy deserves just as much recognition as the guy at the top. So we like to include everybody, not just the top 5. Now, let's see. We have got more results coming up, but before we do that, we're going to step out and take a quick commercial break here in just a few minutes. I want to ask everyone that if you do so, young man we had on the show here a couple of weeks ago, very dear friend of mine, Mr. Delbert Haynes. Delbert's dad is going in to have a pacemaker put in the morning, and he is going to be going into surgery first thing in the morning. Ferris Haynes, great guy, big supporter of racing, has supported Delbert his entire racing career, and a great man and a personal friend of mine. If you would, please keep him in your prayers as he goes through that. And also, my aunt, she's going in to have some stent work done on Wednesday, so please keep her in your prayers as well. You know, prayers is a good thing. Keeps the wheels rolling, and we all need them at one time or another. Now, we're going to step out and take a quick commercial break here in just a second. And when we do, we're going to come back. We've got some more results, and we're going to preview our show for next week. I'm going to give you a little history about what's going to be coming up in the past and in the future. So, tell you what, sit tight, don't go nowhere. It's the Monday Night Results Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. And I'm telling you, you don't want to miss next week's show. I promise you, it is going to be a show that you're not going to want to miss. If you like racing, if you're a kind of a history junkie like me, and you like to know why things are the way they are, tune in next week, because the legendary Bill Blair is going to be sitting in with me for the entire 2 hours. And we're going to talk history. And we'll tell you why. Tell you what, let me step out and take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I will jump into that and I will tell you what the deal is and how it all got started and what we're going to do. So don't go anywhere. It's the Monday Night Results Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the doctor exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What?
No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm gonna do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up.
See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time. What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speeds, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's the Monday Night Results Show, the internet radio show that gives you the results from your favorite racetracks. And that's it. If you're looking for a lot of happy talk and fluff, go watch NASCAR coverage on Fox TV. Now, here's the doctor.
All right, welcome back. And we're going to do our veterans results here in just a few minutes. But there's a little something I want to get into before we do. Yesterday, there was a movie or a TV show that has been going around and has been getting a lot of attention. It's being played on CMT, and it is called NASCAR, The Rise of American Speed. It is, as they describe it, it is an in-depth, high-octane account of the gritty, true story behind NASCAR. It comes roaring to life in the first of its kind limited series. Okay. Now, there are 3 episodes, and the current episode aired yesterday. The next one will air next Sunday. So, if you want to watch it, feel free to tune in. But there are some problems. One of the problems is the storyline. It is listed as a documentary history sports genre. They are saying that this is factual. Well, after a couple of us watched it yesterday, I couldn't handle watching much of it. It was clear to see that they took some liberties. And I got to looking at some of the facts that they mentioned, and it was like, no, this just don't quite look right. And we got to digging and made a few phone calls and got to talking to some people. And I talked to my buddy Bill Blair. Bill Blair is one of very few people who is still with us today who was there. He was there when NASCAR first started. And Bill had some problems with the show himself. He had some issues with some of the things that they were saying and some of the liberties that they took and the way they presented it. So, what we decided we were going to do, I have never been scared of taking on NASCAR before. We are going to do a show next week, and we are going to condense 70 years of racing down into 2 hours. We're going to give the real, true, honest to God, from an eyewitness standpoint about what happened in NASCAR. Not the candy-coated, sugar-coated gobbledygook that they're pushing out there now to sell a movie. This is the real deal. The show next week will be a 2-hour special event. Never before done it. I'm not going to have any results next week. I'm not going to have any. If there's some breaking news, we will include that. But next week's show is going to be dedicated to telling the history of NASCAR the way it should be told. Now, I done some digging today on the movie. It's called NASCAR: The Rise of American Speed, and it is listed as a TV miniseries, documentary, history, sports. That's the 3 genres that they've got this movie tagged in according to IMDb. Documentary first, history, then sports. Now, I found out what the problem was. You scrolled way down to the bottom and you look at the credits and where it talks about, who was involved in this, and you get to the production companies. That's where we have a problem. Production companies. CMT Productions, which used to be Country Music Television, but I don't know what you call it now. It's sure not country music. It's sure not much television. But the big problem with this is the second production company that was involved in it, NASCAR Media Group. That means the script is stamped and rubber stamped by Brian France. Brian France don't like people talking about moonshine. Brian France feels that it is dumbing down NASCAR and lowering it down to some reprobate that people don't want to hear about. He feels that it's hard for him to attract new fans if they think that NASCAR was founded in the hills of Georgia and North Carolina and it was done by moonshiners. To him, that is a derogatory term. In the Southeast, where real true Southerners live, it's a term of endearment. It's a term of honor. And it's those men who laid the groundwork and laid the foundation for what NASCAR should be. And what it was up until a few years ago when Brian France took over. Now, I know I'm going to catch heat from NASCAR, and guess what? I don't care. History is history. Whether you like how it turned out or not. Civil War, you look at it. North versus the South. The North won. Well, that's the way they want to look at it. That's fine. To me, General Lee never surrendered his sword. General Grant stole it. General Lee was just too much of a gentleman to ask him to give it back. No, seriously. you know, they try to change the history of the Civil War. They try to change it around to where it was nothing but about slavery. Well, that wasn't the case. It was about succession, being able to succeed from the Union. Now, slavery did have a part in it, but that wasn't the main reason for the Civil War. There's tons of things that people trying to be politically correct and being able to paint history the way they want it to. You know, some schools are trying to eliminate the Holocaust because it's offensive. Really? Tough. It's history. It's like the rebel flag. You know, does it represent hate? No, it represents heritage. But because some people want to get butthurt and get all politically correct over it, they're going to try to take it out of places. And they're going to try to do away with Civil War monuments because it's derogatory. It's politically incorrect. People get butthurt over it. Tough. Well, I'll tell you what, I can't do too much about that. But last night, when about 11:30, I got a message from a young man who I have nothing but the utmost respect for, and he asked me if I would help him. And his name is Bill Blair. Bill said, Doc, I know that you tell it like it is, and you are not beholden to anybody. I don't have to toe the NASCAR line. I don't have to ask NASCAR's approval before I run something. I run it. If they don't like it, they're feel free to do whatever you feel froggy. If you want to sue me, sue me. But as long as I'm telling the truth, you can't. So that's what we're going to do next week. Me and Bill Blair are going to turn it loose, and we're going to light this place up like a Christmas tree. We're going to tell the history of NASCAR the way it really is. Not with this sugar-coated NASCAR, the rise of American speed crap. We're going to tell it like it really is. And you might want to stay tuned because there might be more coming out of this later on down the road. I had a phone call today that we're working on something. I'm just going to say, me and a couple other people and Mr. Blair, we're working on a project. So I'm telling you, this is going somewhere. It's got legs, and we're not going to let it go. I am not going to let them keep destroying history. You know, they do everything they can in government and everywhere else, but they need to keep their grubby little paws off of racing. I grew up around it. I've lived it. I haven't lived it like Bill Blair has. That's why I'm bringing him in next week. We set this down. I already had tonight's show locked up, or I'd have done it tonight. But next week, 2-hour show, the history of NASCAR, with the legendary Bill Blair sitting in with me, and we may have another guest or two in there as well. So I'm telling you, you do not want to miss next week's show. It is going to be a show that is we're probably going to make some people mad and probably going to educate a bunch of people. But if you want to know the real true history on how it happened, where it happened, when it happened, and who was there, tune in next week because a man that was there is going to be talking about it. Mr. Bill Blair, the last voice of NASCAR. He's one of the few that can tell the story. All right, North Georgia Speedway this past Saturday night in the Super Late Model, $2,000 to win, twin $2,000 to win races in the Supers and the Crates, and it was all to celebrate our lovely mothers. And taking the win, leading it wire to wire, the T6 of Todd Hernandez. The 19A of William Thomas was second. Colby Kilgore was third. Derek Ellis was fourth. Fifth was Todd Morrow. Jamie Perry was sixth. Aaron Wilson was seventh. Kason Truman was eighth. Ninth was Jared Choate. 10th was Gary McPherson. Ronnie Johnson was 11th. Rodney Weeks was 12th. Something was wrong with Ronnie Johnson. I don't know what it was. Car just was not there. Qualified really slow. made about 3 laps, and he rolled it to the infield. So it's sad to see the Chattanooga Flash have a bad night, but he did, and he managed to get through it, and it is what it is. In the crate late models, it was a barn burner. I'm telling you what, 22 cars timed in and took laps. And out front, it was Jeff Smith taking the win over Heath Heineman. Jamie Perry was third. Fourth was Jason Welshin. Justin Smokey Owens was fifth. Chip Brindle was sixth. Larry Higgins was seventh. Josh Fields was eighth. Jimmy Elliott was ninth. Jason Deal was 10th. Will Rowland was 11th. 12th was Devin Stewart. Andy Picklesheimer was 13th. Dustin Golden was 14th. Rusty Ballinger was 15th. Henry Ward was 16th. Kenny Kazar was 17th. Barry Anderson was 18th. Jason Early was 19th. 20th was Ronnie Johnson. Anthony Reimer was 21st. And Alan Green rounded out the 22-car field. In the sportsman race, coming back wire to wire, nobody come close to him. It was Junior Whitener taking the win. Josh Began was a strong second, but he couldn't catch him. Josh Walker was right there for third. Spencer Singleton was fourth. Colton Jackson was fifth. Justin Winters was sixth. Brent Clark was seventh. Greg Brown was eighth. Billy Callahan was ninth. Matt Williams was 10th. John Land was 11th. Natasha Davenport was 12th. Tim Ford was 13th. 14th was Holly Stanfield. David Connor was 15th. Shane Langston was 16th. Casey Heatherly was 17th. 18th was Timmy Thornton. Jim Clark was 19th. And David Connor was 20th. Don't know how David Connor got on there twice, but he did. All right. In A hobby, it was Booger Brooks back to his winning ways. He takes the win. Brad Thomas was second. John Clark was third. Greg Tinker was fourth. Derek Franks was fifth. Logan Walston was sixth. James Maddox was seventh. Donnie Patterson was eighth. Daniel Bible was ninth. Andrew Littleton was 10th. And Billy Dean was 11th. And that's how they ran them in the A hobbies. In the pony race, man, these guys only made, I think, 12 laps, if that, under green due to cautions left and right. It was pretty tough. It was Stephen Campbell taking the win over Brandon Knight. Grady Stokes was third. Dylan Davenport was fourth. Adam Pruitt was fifth. Brad Gladden was sixth. Seventh was David Kirkland. Kyle Gilbert was eighth. Michael Page was ninth. Justin Goforth was 10th. Josh Cook was 11th. 12th was Ben Arnold. Keith West was 13th. Jerry Cole was 14th. Keith Hackney was 15th. Patrick Henry was 16th. Travis Price was 18th or 17th. Sean Tenpenny was scored 18th after being DQ'd for having his crew come on the racetrack under a red flag condition. He was stopped on the track, and his crew came out on the track and made adjustments to the car, pulling the fenders off of it, and that is a big no-no, and he got the big boot. Raised Cain about it, but he was DQ'd. It's in the rule book. Don't like it. Too bad. That is how they ran them at North Georgia this past Saturday night. Now, I do want to say I am tickled to death. I have talked with Keith Hackney. He took a wild hit Saturday night, got turned around, and Ben Arnold just about T-boned him head on. And Keith Hackney, who we had on the show here a couple of weeks ago, he was knocked out for just a second, but he said that he will have it fixed and be ready to go next race. And he said he's also going out to buy him a Hans device. So there you go. Safety, safety, safety. Get those safety items in place. It is something everyone needs. And Keith Hackney realized just what he needed this past Saturday night. So tickled to death that he's going to be joining us. He's going to be back. All right. We're up against a commercial break. We're going to jump out of here. When we come back, we got a little bit more results and who knows what else. So don't go nowhere. It's the Monday Night Results Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker, They Call Me the Doctor, exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ball in street? Girl in street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, recording artists against drunk driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more, but the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives and so should you.
Motorsports sales professionals. Performance Motorsports is looking to build a team of experienced media sales professionals to represent our programming to the industry's top companies, magazines, and racing series. If you have motorsports sales or marketing experience, know how to work with agencies, understand social media, and are incredibly creative when it comes to working with clients and promotions, then we want to hear from you. Top performers are richly rewarded. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444, or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
It's the Monday Night Results Show. The name says it all. Now back to your host, the Doctor.
All right, welcome back. I told you we had some results, and I meant to do this earlier, but I kind of got sidetracked and it fell through the cracks. But our veterans results for this week goes out to Petty Officer Les Handrick. He is if you go to Norfolk Shipyard, Norfolk, Virginia, he's one of the bright and smiling faces you will see at the front gate. He is one of the shore patrol that works the front gate. He said every Monday night they turn on the Monday Night Results Show. They got some of those little speakers that they plug into their smartphone, and they play it there in the guard shack at the front gate at Norfolk Naval Station in Norfolk, Virginia. So, to Petty Officer Hendrick, thank you, sir, for doing what you do. Standing in the gap for us so that we may do what we do here. Petty Officer Hendrick is from Harlan, Iowa, and he wanted to hear the results from Shelby County Speedway, and he said they ran Saturday night, and here are the results. Took me a little bit, actually, Petty Officer, to find them, but I got them for you. Shelby County Speedway, Harlan, Iowa, this past Saturday night. In the Sports Compact feature, it was Cody Thompson taking the win over Tyler Thompson. Alex Stapleton was third. Bronson Griffin was fourth. Jake Newsom was fifth. Taylor Griffin was sixth. Kane Malberg was seventh. Kami Hast was eighth. David Cohen was ninth. Curtis Miller was 10th. Randy Walker was 11th. Thomas Kurtz was 12th. Corey Stapleton was 13th. Marcus Brummeister was 14th. Jason Kroger was 15th. 16th was Scott Brown, and Randy Rush rounded out the 17-car field. In the hobby stocks, it was Kevin Bruck taking the win over Jason Fusselman. Jason Cole, third. Shannon Anderson was fourth. Bill Bonnet was fifth. Sixth was August Bach. Chuck Madden Jr. was seventh. Jeff Adkins was eighth. Colby Christensen was ninth. Corey Madden was 10th. James Sisk was 11th. Zach Van Serskum was 12th. 13th was Zach Hemmingson. 14th was Kevin Zettner. And Brandon Baker rounded out the 15-car field. In the Northern Sport Mod feature, it was Brett Hopp taking the win over Clint Llewellyn. Jake Sackaru was third. Jason Hansen was fourth. Cody Olson was fifth. Caleb Kennedy was sixth. Austin Llewellyn was seventh. Sean Cooney was eighth. Ed Hamilton was ninth. Cole Nordquist was 10th. Nick Hermson was 11th. Cody Klein was 12th. Dennis Cook was 13th. Dylan Peterson was 14th. Tracy Weber was 15th. Kevin Wagner was 16th. Thomas Van Dyke was 17th. 18th was Michael Jones. Tanner Plone was 19th. 20th, Dan Klein. Paul Zimmerman was 21st. And all the way from Bresford, South Dakota, Keegan Nordquist rounded out the 22-car field. In the stock car division, it was Mike Knuckles, not the one that works for Warrior. Mike Knuckles takes the win over J.J. Baumley. Dusty Van Horn was third. Brian Blessington was fourth. Trent Partridge was fifth. Mike Stapleton was sixth. Nick Steer was seventh. Willie Ransom was eighth. Dylan Carlisle was ninth. 10th was Chris Ritt. Ray Dessel was 11th. Terry Irwin was 12th. Justin Bromett was 13th. Mike Harris 14th. Todd Inman was 15th. And Trent Rold was 16th. In the late model division, it was Jay Stewart taking the win. Todd Cooney was second. Alan Hopp was third. Jake Neal was fourth. Corey Zettner was fifth. Barry Sorensen was sixth. Kyle Ziegabart was seventh. Eighth was Curtis Glover. Don Beckstrom was ninth. Vic Lovejoy was 10th. Amanda O'Neill was 11th. Dalton Masson was 12th. 13th was Jeff Siegabart. 14th was David Livingston. In the modified division, it was Jacob Murray taking the win over Chris Albelson. Red Monson was third. Brad Bergen was fourth. Travis Hatcher was fifth. Rick Steffen was sixth. Seventh was Shane Demme. Jonathan Plowman was eighth. Devin Havlick was ninth. Jason Schneiders was 10th. Cody Hillgardner was 11th. Mike Albertson was 12th. Robert Tippery was 13th. Jeff Stevens was 14th. Nick Deal was 15th. Joe Medford was 16th. Justin Zettner was 17th. And Jake Neal rounded out the 18-car field. And that's how they ran them up there at Shelby County Speedway in Harlan, Iowa, for Petty Officer Les Handrick, working the front gate at Norfolk Naval Station there in Norfolk, Virginia. Thank you, sir, for being away from your family, for the sacrifices that you have made so that we can live free here in the United States. Thank you, sir, for doing what you do. From one veteran to another, thank you again. Petty Officer Les Handrick up there. So when you go through the gate tonight, if he's there, pat him on the back and thank him for listening in to the Monday Night Results Show. All right. There are some little bit of news that we want to cover. I just want to touch on. There is going to be a big race, North Georgia Speedway, coming up the 21st. We are working on doing a driver's autograph session. But the big thing is the baddest women in the area come to play in the clay at North Georgia Speedway with the powder puff races, along with the super late models, the crates, the sportsmans, the A-hobbies, and the ponies. And it will be night 3 of the 5-night points challenge. So come on out and check out the girls as they get it done. I don't know if they're going to let Brittany Whitener run again. She's won just about every time she's brought Junior Whitener's car out. he puts gray hairs on him. He gets real nervous watching his wife drive his race car. But I think one of the biggest parts of the show, I think this year we're going to have all the drivers that normally drive the car come stand up in the stands with me, and we're going to watch that race together. And I think that's going to be kind of fun. We got some interesting things coming on, and being part of it and getting to be out there each and every week is a true blessing. And I think that more people ought to become involved in racing, whether it's just going out to your local dirt track or drag strip or asphalt track, wherever it is. Just go on out, be part of it. Come sit in the stands. I got to talk to some kids this past weekend who begged their mom to take them to the races. And these guys, they're 4 young boys. They were from LaGrange, Georgia. They asked their mom to please take them to North Georgia Speedway. They wanted to watch dirt track racing. They had never been, they had only seen it on YouTube. So they came up there. They drove 147 miles to come to North Georgia and watch dirt track racing up there. And I got to talking to the boys. I said, what did you guys have to do to sweet talk your mom into coming to the races? One of them said he had to do the dishes. The other one said that he had to clean up the yard after their dog. And, I thought, well, that ain't too bad. I said, what kind of dog do you got? And he said, a St. Bernard. So that boy, he earned his keep. But, seeing these young guys excited about racing, getting to come to their first race, that was special. And their mom absolutely loved it. She was one of the mothers that got to go for a ride in Black Beauty. So I think she's hooked. I don't know if they'll be making the trip each and every week to North Georgia, but it was a pleasure having them there. I also want to say thank you to Josh Fields and Junior Whitener for the T-shirts and the hats that they give out. And Josh Fields, buddy, I want to tell you, I am sporting my Josh Fields hat right now. So thank you so much for the special delivery up there and sending that up there to the top side. And it was good to see you there right before the race. There are a lot of racers out there who do a lot of things that go above and beyond what they need to do. TJ Hughes is one of them. TJ Hughes, they call him Kid Dynamite, races over West Memphis, lives over in Mississippi, Arkansas, Tennessee, right in that tri-state area. He had a friend of his call him and tell him that there was a little girl up in the hospital in Memphis that didn't have a whole lot of family close because she was battling some pretty, I believe it was Shriners Hospital. She had some issues and they had to take her away from where she lived up to this hospital for treatment. And she was kind of lonely. And they asked if TJ would mind stopping by to see her. TJ Hughes put on his fire suit, took his helmet, and went down there and spent 2 hours with this young lady, hanging out with her, talking racing, telling her about racing, took her pictures, and just spent time with her. And, it's little things like that that make racing fans what they are, racers what they are. He didn't have to do that. He could have sat at home and watched TV all weekend. But what did he do? He loaded up and drove 2 hours down to help this little girl out because she didn't have nobody to talk to. Just her mom and dad were there, and they were working back and forth trying to get some rest and everything. And TJ went down and sat with her and spent some time with her. And, more racers need to get involved in things like that. More racers need to get involved in school programs. A couple of years ago, we had Racing to Read. Craig Reese and Trevor Thompson came up and went with me down to New Hope Elementary School and spent some time with the kids down there talking about how important reading was. And it's a blessing that you just can't put words on, and you can't put a price on it. And I know the kids love it too. And that's the thing that really warmed my heart, is the reception that we got, with the kids and spending time with them and getting to show them a little bit about racing. And, if you show the race car and talk about racing to 100 kids and you get 10 of them that comes to the races, man, you got it going on. Because those 10 kids are going to drag 5 or 6 people with them, their brothers and sisters and mamas and daddies and all that. And that's what it's all about. It's getting more people in the stands. And, like I've said it a million times, I've only had 2 people take me up on it. If you've got somebody that has never been to a dirt track race, get with me before race weekend. I will get them a free pass to the grandstands at North Georgia Speedway. You can't beat the price. And plus, next weekend, the 21st, we're going to do another Doctors Grand Tour. They could be in the running for that as well. So keep it in mind and spend some time. Talk about your local racetrack. Learn about your drivers. Shake their hand. Get their autograph. If they're selling T-shirts, buy a T-shirt. That helps support their racing. They don't do that just for the fun of it. They do it to help support their racing, to offset the cost, because it's a big job doing this. And when you got guys like Andrew Littleton, Colby Kilgore, Josh Fields, Junior Whitener, the list goes on, that get out there and go above and beyond, TJ Hughes, and doing the things that they do for the sport of racing and for the fans. That's what it's all about. And I'm just tickled to death to be part of it and for all of them to be considered my friends. And each and every week, every one of them is calling me, asking me, is there something we can do, Doc? Can we help? That's just what it's about. It's all about racers helping racers. And if you get a chance to go on out, please do so. Don't forget, next week, the big, huge show, we're going to have 2-hour-long history lesson. I promise you do not want to miss this. Me and Bill Blair setting the record straight on the history of NASCAR. We're going to have Bill Blair for 2 whole hours. I've been waiting for 2 years for this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get out of here. You have a super week wherever you may be. Drive safe, drive careful, and we'll see you here next Monday night, right here on the Monday Night Results Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the Doctor, exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network. See ya, everybody.
The Monday Night Results Show is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network. www.performancemotorsportsnetwork.com, a member of the Scorpion Radio Group, Inc., and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. Check out our Facebook page or our section on the PMN website. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, co-host, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either PMN or Scorpion Radio Group, Inc., the advertisers, or the marketing partners. If you would like to hear the results from your local track, or you are a track owner or a promoter and want us to cover your venue, give us a call during normal business hours, 717-749-0444. IM us on our Facebook page or email us at performancemotorsportsnetwork@gmail.com. Be listening again next week as we are talking results on the Monday Night Results Show with the Doctor. For the Monday Night Results Show, I'm Big Mike.